for the news.
The President of the Republic, Ms. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has delivered a message on the occasion of the celebration of the double anniversary of the creation of the General Union of Algerian Workers and the nationalization of hydrocarbons. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has stated that an agreement was within reach ahead of a new round of talks scheduled for tomorrow with the United States on Iran's nuclear program. And UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has announced the appointment of Finland's Pekka Haavisto as his new personal envoy for Sudan as the country's humanitarian and security crisis continues to deepen. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First in our news, Prime Minister Sifi Gharieb today chaired a government meeting devoted to reviewing several key sectors. According to a statement from the Prime Minister's office, the government examined a draft executive decree setting the conditions and procedures for accrediting, operating, and monitoring private schools. The new framework introduces updated administrative, technical, and pedagogical requirements to address shortcomings identified in the field. Accreditation will now be subject to the national school map, and private schools must comply with national curricula and uphold national constants. The government also reviewed preparations for the 2026 Hajj season. Contracts have been finalized for accommodation, catering, transport of pilgrims and luggage, and medical supervision. Organizational procedures have been digitized through the Algerian Hajj portal, with electronic payment introduced for Hajj costs. Emphasis was placed on close coordination among all sectors involved to ensure a well-organized season and uphold Algeria's image. In addition, the cabinet meeting discussed the 2026-2028 roadmap for the vocational training and education sector aimed at modernizing the system and strengthening its role in economic development. Finally, the government received a progress update on the expansion of the port of Annaba, part of the major integrated phosphate project. The President of the Republic, Ms. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has delivered a message on the occasion of the celebration of the 70th anniversary of the creation of the General Union of Algerian Workers, UGTA, and the 55th anniversary of the nationalization of hydrocarbons, read by Prime Minister Sifi Gharieb, who chaired on Tuesday in Oran the ceremony marking this double anniversary. In his message, the President of the Republic stated that on the 24th of February, Algeria celebrates the double anniversary of the creation of the General Union of Algerian Workers, UGTA, created in 1956, and the nationalization of hydrocarbons in 1971, a memorable moment of the liberation revolution while Algerian women and men workers, including the companions of the emblematic martyr Aïssat Idir, affirmed their commitment to the armed struggle, founding a lasting tradition of national commitment reflected in the positions of the trade union organization during critical moments. The President of the Republic highlighted that the tribute paid to the UGTA through its martyred leaders, foremost among them Abdelhak bin Hamouda, reflects the highest meaning of patriotism and loyalty to the principles of the November 1st message. Let's listen to Mr. Sifi Gharieb.
نحتفي بأحد الأيام الخالدة في تاريخ الثورة التحريرية.
We celebrate one of the immortal days in the history of the blessed liberation revolution, during which Algerian women and men workers declared their participation to the armed struggle and expressed the attachment of the entire Algerian people to their glorious revolution. Among them were the companions of the emblematic martyr Aïssat Idir and the generation of workers and trade unionists who founded one of the strongholds and schools of national commitment, whose approach in defending Algeria is passed down from generation to generation, as confirmed by the positions of the trade union organization during the most difficult stages, perhaps in what the General Union of Algerian Workers paid through its executives and leaders martyred in the line of national duty. Foremost among them, the martyr Abdelhak bin Hamouda, lies the most eloquent meaning of patriotism, the truest images of sacrifice, and the most faithful expression of loyalty to the founding pioneers and to the principles and values of the November message.
While recalling the historic decision of February 24, 1971, when Algerian engineers, technicians and workers ensured continuity in the energy sector after regaining sovereignty over national resources, setting an enduring example for future generations and contributing to the doubling of commercial energy production and continuing to carry out the tasks of mastering the various phases of the oil and gas industry value chain. The president stated that Algeria is now the world's seventh largest gas exporter and the third supplier to the European market, holding the third largest oil reserves in Africa, expressing confidence in promising prospects driven by the skills and experience of its workers, while commending their efforts and reaffirming the importance of work, technical excellence, and dedication to major development projects.
في هذه المناسبة نستحضر أيضا قرارا سياديا تاريخيا حاسما.
On this occasion, we also recall a historic, decisive, sovereign decision that Algerian women and men will always remember with pride, namely the challenge undertaken by engineers, technicians and workers with the means available to them to ensure the continuity of production in the energy sector following the announcement of the recovery of sovereignty over our national resources on February 24, 1971. They are the ones who set an example for those who came after them among these skilled professionals, executives, women and men workers in the energy sector, and they continue competently to carry out tasks of mastering the various phases of the oil and gas industry value chain.
لصناعة النفط والغاز.
The Algerian premier also visited, as part of his visit, the production unit of MTBE, stressing that, as instructed by the President of the Republic, this project will eliminate the import bill and allows for more export, making it very important for the transformation industry in Algeria.
Following the instructions of the President of the Republic, this project eliminates the import bill and allows us to export, making it very important for the transformation industry in Algeria. It will hopefully also allow us to improve the quality of unleaded gasoline and open new horizons for export. Since this product is highly demanded worldwide, we will enter the global market using the latest technologies to produce this type of product, MTBE, methyl tert-butyl ether. Congratulations to Algeria.
Finally, President Tebboune renewed his greetings to all workers of the General Union of Algeria and the hydrocarbon sector for continuing the path of their predecessors, and concluded by affirming that Algeria would live and on that glory and eternity would be granted to its valiant martyrs. In the same regard, the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, Mr. Azouz Nasri, said on Tuesday that Algeria under President Abdelmadjid Tebboune is steadily diversifying income, boosting production and protecting citizens' purchasing power, describing the dual anniversary of the UGTA founding and hydrocarbons nationalization on February 24 as a journey of loyalty to past sacrifices and the building of a strong, prosperous Algeria. For his part, the Speaker of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Boughali, emphasized in a message on the occasion of the double anniversary that February 24 is an opportunity to renew loyalty to the memory of the martyrs and to draw inspiration from the values of sacrifice and patriotism.
نقف اليوم عند الإرادة السياسية الصادقة للسيد عبد المجيد تبون رئيس الجمهورية.
On the occasion of this commemoration, the sincere political will of the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, is part of the continuation of the process of valorizing the nation's wealth and strengthening the infrastructure of the national economy, decommissioning of the railway section concerning Gharaj Bilat, Tindouf and Bashar, as well as the launch of the exploitation of the Gharaj Bilat deposit, and the ambitious project related to phosphate and mineral resources reflect a strategic vision aimed at valorizing national mineral resources, creating a sustainable economic dynamic, diversifying income resources, and strengthening local development. The February 24, 1971 decision enshrining the nationalization of hydrocarbons marked the culmination of a process of consolidating economic transformation.
وتعزيز التنمية المحلية.
The Secretary General of the General Union of Algerian Workers, UGTA, Ammar Taqjout, for his part stressed that commemorating the double anniversary of the founding of the UGTA and the nationalization of hydrocarbons is an opportunity to celebrate the achievements and gains made in various fields. He added that Algeria's human capital is reflected in its workers who were a bulwark in defending the homeland during the victorious War of Liberation.
الاتحاد العام كان مرافقا للثورة والاستقلال.
The General Union supported the revolution and independence and tried to fulfill its duty to establish economic development. It is obvious to everyone that relying on the workers at that time was a strong reliance. Why so? Because in 1971, 50 years later, we must recall that the decision to nationalize hydrocarbons was announced at the House of Workers, in the trade union headquarters, in the conference hall, by the late Hawari Boumediene, not anywhere else, but at the House of Workers, because at that time our officials who were in the revolution had great faith in relying on the workers regarding the sovereign decision taken at that time.
Internationally now, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has announced the appointment of Finland's Pekka Haavisto as his new personal envoy for Sudan, replacing Algeria's Ramtan Lamamra as the country's humanitarian and security crisis continues to deepen. The United Nations said Haavisto brings more than 4 decades of experience in politics and international affairs, having served in several ministerial roles in Finland's government, as well as in senior positions with the European Union and the United Nations. He is currently a member of Finland's parliament and is widely known for his mediation and conflict resolution efforts in the Horn of Africa and the Middle East. He previously served as the European Union Special Representative for Sudan from 2005 to 2007, where he participated in the Darfur peace negotiations. During that period, he also worked as a senior UN advisor on the Darfur peace process, among other international assignments. Meanwhile, Sudan said Tuesday that any proposal to end the conflict must safeguard the country's supreme interest, national security, full sovereignty and territorial integrity. In a statement, the foreign ministry stressed that proposals or initiatives do not automatically mean acceptance or approval by the Sudanese government. Meanwhile, a parliamentary attack in Sudan's Darfur region has left dozens dead and hundreds displaced, according to local sources at the United Nations. And the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, has affirmed that protecting civilians in the Gaza Strip is a pressing humanitarian priority given the deteriorating conditions there, stressing the need to ensure safe and sustained access for humanitarian aid to the population. The UN agency explained on its official website that enabling humanitarian workers and protecting humanitarian facilities and infrastructure is essential for the continued provision of vital services to the most vulnerable families. It noted that it continues its operations in the Gaza Strip despite the significant challenges based on its UN mandate. The UN agency called for a safe environment that allows humanitarian teams to carry out their duties without hindrance, thus ensuring the protection of civilians and the continued flow of life-saving humanitarian assistance to all those in need in the Gaza Strip. Adnan Abu Hasna, official representative of UNRWA in the Middle East and the Gaza Strip, tells us more.
Without a doubt, the situation in Gaza Strip remains catastrophic, even with the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. There is a severe shortage of medicines, food and fuel, as well as a complete destruction of infrastructure, including water and health sectors. There is also a huge shortage of early shelter, with hundreds of thousands of tents or mobile homes needed across different areas of the Gaza Strip. Around 1.5 million Palestinians are living in the open, next to their destroyed homes, on the streets, or in makeshift tents. While diseases are spreading dangerously throughout the Gaza Strip, we are taking about hundreds of thousands of patients. The health sector is completely collapsed.
This came as more than a dozen international humanitarian organizations petitioned Israel's Supreme Court to block an imminent order that would force 37 NGOs to cease operations in Gaza, the West Bank, and East al-Quds, warning of catastrophic consequences for Palestinians. The petitioners say enforcement has already begun in practice, with supplies blocked and visas denied to foreign staff. With this last piece of news, we come to the end of this news bulletin. We leave you now with our weekly programs devoted to the holy month of Ramadan. And we'll meet again tomorrow. See you and have a good time. صحة فطوركم.